Walk out the door, you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Let's Talk Tottenham. Today we're going to be looking at the game from yesterday, talking about Winksy, Dele, Davies, and I would love to hear your comments down below. If you think that I'm, out of line, or I'm not, seeing things the way you're seeing things, please let me know in those comments, or get in our Discord server. There's a Let's Talk Tottenham Discord server. The first 100 get all the access to the voice channels and things like that. The second 100 will get a little less access, but the more you talk Tottenham, the more access you get. And then after that, you start out as a member, and obviously the more you talk, the more access you get. So anyway, just wanted to encourage you to get into that. I really enjoyed the conversation yesterday, and we had some voice channel going, people from India, from Scotland, London, and myself, and it was just a great time, great conversation. So first things first, I want to talk about this guy right here, Dele Alli. I'm not defending him. I think a player that has been in the Premier League since 2015-16 should by now know what it takes to play at this level. But I do think that Pochettino has hindered him a bit. Pochettino's management style of being that fatherly type of figure, he let things slide. And I remember Pochettino basically saying, I like Dele the way that he is. And there's a good aspect to that in terms of, he's playful. He's got this, aggressive streak. And I think that's what Pochettino wanted to see. But I think what was missing is that there's a future Dele that is better than this Dele. But you got to find him, right? Harry Kane does that naturally. He's got that inner drive, that inner desire to go after that future Harry Kane that's going to score more goals, that's going to get more assists, that's going to constantly get better. And to be honest, I don't really know if Dele has that. And so Jose sees that in him, and I think he's calling him out. And Dele's, first and only Premier League manager was Poch. And so this new style of management, I think, is a little bit different for him. And again, I'm not defending him at all. I think by now he should know this. He's not a young kid anymore. He's been in this league. But I do think, too, that there's, in the idea of how you coach somebody, I can remember, my dad's a psychologist. And whenever we would talk about sports, one of the biggest things he would talk about is don't just tell a player what not to do, tell them what to do. And it's not to say that Jose isn't doing any of that, but I think that if you start to focus on what you shouldn't do, you kind of end up doing it. I think Dele kind of fixates on those things. And maybe that's not Jose's fault, I think that is Dele's fault. He's got to get that focus right, but he needs to start thinking more positively and getting after the game. I think he's just kind of lost that fire. And I think Jose's doing what he does best. Like he says, I'm not here to coach you how to be a player. I'm talking about the team. And so Dele's got to find that within him, and hopefully he does, because I think if he doesn't by January, I don't think he stays. I don't think a loan move will be helpful for him in terms of Spurs long term, but yeah, I could see him leaving in January, and it's just such a bummer because we saw this guy come in, we saw the talent that he has, and I think it's a mentality thing. I think it's a bit of a character thing that to get to that, or to stay at that level even. Right, everyone's always progressing. So if you're just staying, everyone's going to catch up. And I think that's a little bit of what's happened with Dele. Next person I want to talk about is Harry Winks. He's just not good enough. And I think, he loves the shirt. He loves the club. He's a Tottenham boy through and through. But sometimes I actually think that hinders him. He's trying to do more than what he should do, more than his job on the field. He took a shot yesterday that was like, please just don't. That's not your job. And so he will kind of get out of his lane. He needs to just stay in his lane, stay focused on what his job is, not be jawing at linesmen, in our conversation. I got to be a part of Matt and his podcast, and so I'll put a link in the description for that. But yeah, there was just some conversation about, I guess, he was going after Carlos Vinicius, and it's like, Winksy, dude, you know, why don't you just keep your mouth shut and keep working on the field? And I know that might sound harsh to a guy that loves this club so much, but I think, yeah, the reality is he's not at those levels that he was when he was playing against Real Madrid, and he was kind of, you know, taken over from Moussa Dembele, or not. I mean, he was never going to replace Moussa Dembele, but kind of coming into the team around that time. And yeah, I think at that time he knew, like, hey, you know, he's not going to step into a crazy role and do more than what he can do. But now I think he's kind of lost his way a little bit, and it might be because he's fighting for his place, not just in this squad, but in this team. And so, yeah, I think it's going to his head a little bit. And then lastly, let's talk about Ben Davies. Ben Davies is, you know, a steady Eddie usually, but every 6 weeks he just has a game, and I think that's what happened. The other part of this too that is just confusing to me about Jose is, why would he pick him to play next to Sanchez? I think Ben Davies works as a center back in a back three, but not in this system, not in a 4-3-3 like they were playing. And so part of that, I think, is on Davies. I mean, he made an incredible mistake, but I think a little bit of that has to go on Jose as well. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I just really think that, yeah, it was just such a bummer to see. But I'm also confused by the team selection. And, you know, Jose said so, you know, as much as he could acknowledge.
There is only one to blame, which is me.
And I would agree with that. He's got to take some of the blame. And one thing I'm appreciating about Jose is he's just so honest, right? He's trying to give these players an opportunity to show themselves, show what they can do in certain systems, and that's great. But I think this was one too many changes. And that leads me to the conversation I want to have about this man right here. Ndombele, the N stands for New Dembele. We missed Moussa when he left. And now we've got another Moose in the midfield. You know what I mean? Like, this guy just holds it down. And what I love about his tenacity this year is he gets into tackles, he makes a good pass, he'll carve up the midfield, and he's doing what we need. He's a strong guy on the ball, and yeah, when you just look at Winks, you know, it's just not even close. And even Lo Celso's a little weak on the ball, and I think he's still trying to, like, get his feet for this season. But yeah, you just missed Ndombele last night, and yeah, I think it's important that we get him right back in the team. And we also missed this guy in the first half. I mean, Hojbjerg is potentially the biggest signing of the summer for me. And we signed some good players. But I think what he is doing for this club is what we needed. And it might just be that he's just the perfect fit for Jose's system. But even if that's the case, Jose's the manager. Get him in there. He's a rock, and he plays through injuries. He's such a leader. I love those little videos of him playing Uno. Like, the guy he's always looking to compete. Like, he was even competing with the breathing test when he was doing his medical, right? And I love that. I want to see more of that out of everybody. And hopefully that mentality will kind of start to permeate through the rest of not just the starting 11, but the squad and the roster. So, you know, if we win the league this year, I don't know about you, but I feel like if they ever have like a movie about it from Hollywood, I think Christian Bale could easily play as Hojbjerg. Just dye that beard and mustache a little bit red, and I think the man would fit in just fine. Okay, so all that to say, we've got Brighton at the weekend, and to be honest, I think we should see a reaction. Hopefully, this is just kind of a blip, and we will keep moving forward. Somebody that was on the Discord chat last night and that was just kind of sharing this man right here, crying son. And one of the things that he was saying was, you know, the loss is not devastating when it comes to Europa, but it does kind of feel like it takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails of the momentum that we were building. And I completely agree. I think that, you know, just seeing how we were, you know, we fought through that Burnley win, and we had that, you know, dumpster fire of an ending at West Ham, but the goals that were scored in that game, I think momentum is and was building, and you just hope that the team really gives a reaction coming up on Sunday. So I said this when I was part of that podcast, and again, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can watch that. But I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to Spurs. Hopefully, Harry and Sonny can get on, you know, either the goals or the assists. I just kind of see that happening. But yeah, I'm hoping that we can respond on Sunday. So if you're at this part of the video and you have still not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button as well. And let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or get in our Discord. I would love to see you there. And as ever, it was great talking with you.